Okay, this was a cool out-of-body experience that I had with Joel a couple days ago. But I'll talk about that in a second. But a second ago, well actually a few hours ago, I was, well, I'm trying to get back on schedule. So I woke up by 9 a.m. because I sometimes I just can't sleep past 9 o'clock. But anyway, I didn't probably fall asleep till 3 a.m. So I was really tired. And I couldn't really fall back to sleep, so I went ahead and got out of bed. Actually, it wasn't 9, it was more like 8:30. And so I was really like tired. So I conked out on the couch from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., which I'm not surprised. I went ahead and put my earplugs in and everything. And I didn't have the TV on because I felt really tired. So I felt like I was probably going to sleep a long time. So I slept from 2 to 5 p.m. a second ago. Or, you know, about 3 hours ago or whatever. And, because it's 8 o'clock now. But anyway, this is kind of funny because, well, I was talking to Joel and I was asking him to give me, you know, out-of-body experience or whatever. And I did tell him it could be sexual. And, but I mean, he'll give me sex even if I don't ask for it. So anyway, he gave me some sex, as he always does. I mean, I get laid pretty much, once to several times every day pretty much because of Joel. But anyway, I mean, it's just like magicians, they get all these abilities from the aliens, you know, to do their magic. Well, Joel, the alien, just give me this ability. They give me any dream I want. They give me any sex I want with anybody I want. That's just the ability that they gave me. And actually they did give me some magical abilities, which was telekinetic, about a year ago with my fish, but I haven't talked about that yet. But yeah, I see now that, yeah, all those magicians, they're getting their abilities from aliens, basically. But, so anyway, yeah, I slept, see, normally, if I take a nap on the couch, I'll sleep very lightly. You know, so I don't really dream or anything, but I knew I was like really tired, and so I went ahead and put my earplugs in. I didn't have the TV on or anything, so I slept exactly 3 hours. And so Joel gave me this long, drawn-out virtual reality lucid dream with me having sex with Jan Van Dahl. I bought her CD a long time ago. It's like the same song with 6 different versions. 5 or 6 different versions. The song that I just played a second ago. But what the deal was, the reason why he gave me sex with her was just because she was fresh on the brain. Like, I wasn't asking for sex with her. I was just telling him to come give me an out-of-body experience when I was taking my nap. And I was just asking, I was just telling him it could be sexual or non-sexual. 9 times out of 10, he always gives me sex. So he gave me this long, drawn-out scenario where she was, like, at my house. And see, what the deal was, earlier, I was, like, listening to the song on YouTube, her song or whatever, and I was studying her and everything because I think she's a tranny, man. I don't know, she just looks very tranny to me. But here's the one that I was looking at and I was studying before I laid down to take a nap. This one right here. There's just something very, and like I say, a lot of these Hollywood people and artists in other countries, you know, they're trannies. I mean, I don't know how it's done, but it's done. But there's just something very odd. I mean, there's a lot of things very odd, like big feet, big jaws, really big shoulders. And so I just kept thinking, this woman's got to be a tranny. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I mean, she's Belgian, so I don't know. Maybe they look different over there. But anyway, so I was listening to this video, Where Are You Now? The same song I played a second ago. And I was just thinking, this has got to be a transsexual. And I thought about that several months ago when I was, you know, when I saw this video and her. I thought about that several months ago after I started, you know, looking at all that tranny stuff with that Mr. E guy or whatever. But maybe she's not. I don't know. But I mean, like, I don't know how it's done, but there's just a lot of very male characteristics. But the thing I don't understand is how are they keeping their voice so high? You know, because the transsexuals we think about are the ones that are 50 years old, and then they all of a sudden want to become a transsexual, so they turn from a man to a woman at age 50, and then of course their voice still stays very, very, very deep. So I guess with these people, they're doing it right when they're born or something, and that's why maybe their voice never gets high. I mean, gets low. You know, if it's a male to female, like this Eon Van Dahl, but I think she changed her name. Well, anyway, so she was fresh on the brain. Okay, so Joel gave me sex. Well, he created a scenario for me, a virtual reality lucid dream scenario that she came over to my, and this, under the scenario, like I said, this was anywhere between 2:30 to 5, 2:30 p.m., because I laid down at 2 o'clock, so anywhere between probably 2:30 p.m. to 5:12 p.m., because I woke up about 5:12 p.m. And so anyway, so he gave me this long drawn out scenario with her, and so basically under the scenario, it was like I was living in this either nice apartment or nice condo, and she came over to my condo, and it was nothing like the house I live in now or whatever under the scenario, and we had oh yeah, and it was like a lot of times they'll just like create scenarios, like the aliens, Joel, and maybe other ones too, create scenarios where it's not really sex, but it's just kind of like romance. Well, under this scenario, well, I mean, if you want sex, you got to tell them to like that you really want sex and not just romance. And so, you know, so he gave me, and I've been telling them that because like a lot of times, like with, I don't know, with women or men, he'll be like giving me these scenarios where like you never really go all the way or whatever, and I'll be like, you know, why don't you give me like full on sex or whatever? So now he gives me like full on sex or whatever when he creates these scenarios with me being with these other people. Okay, so with this Eon Van Dahl, I got to edit a lot of stuff out, but yeah, okay, so we had sex. I mean, it wasn't just like romance and shit. Okay, so it was sex, okay? And I even, I smelled a lot of smells and stuff in this scenario. And basically, under the scenario, he didn't do anything where it insinuated, you know, she was a tranny or anything like that. He did not put any bits and pieces like that in my scenario. I mean, under the scenario, she was completely female. And, okay, what the hell was that? Okay, so anyway, so basically, okay, after we got done having sex, you know, she got a call on her phone because she, under the scenario, you know, she was still a very busy woman. She was a trans artist under the scenario, and I knew all that. And so after we had sex and everything, she got a call, and she's like, well, I gotta go. So I followed her out to her car, and once I woke up, I knew exactly why she drove, but I since forgot. But it was like, yeah, I totally forgot exactly what she was driving, but it was like, and actually she wasn't driving, it was like a driver that she was, you know, that picked her up. And it was like a white small Escalade or something like that. But I since kind of forgot exactly what she was driving. But anyway, or not her, but her driver. So anyway, so after she got a call on her phone, you know, she was like, well, I gotta go. After we had sex and everything. And the funny thing is, when I followed her out to to her vehicle out at the front of my house, but in the scenario, it was just totally different, totally like I was in another reality, another dimension. And then when I looked at the front of my house, you know, after she walked to the vehicle, and which was over there to the left of the curb, or over to the left of my house or apartment, whatever I was in, at the curb, when I turned back around in front of my house, there was an eastern box turtle running around on my patio, and there was 3 toads. Amanda, my big fat toad, and then 2 little pals. And so that's kind of funny he put that in there. But anyway, So yeah, so I was asking for out of body experience or whatever, and I told him it could be sexual or non-sexual. So he put the freshest thing that was in my brain at the time, which was this Eon Van Dahl or whatever, and but it was like so cool, man. So so yeah, but I mean he's been giving me sex even before I started asking for experiences and stuff. He's been doing this all my life, and like I say, the youngest one was when I was 7 years old, and that was I mean that experience is on here. I mentioned that in another video. But anyway, so yeah, like he'll give me anything I want. It's so hilarious. I mean, I get laid more than anybody on planet Earth. I guarantee you. Not physically, but astrally. But like I say, it feels better. It feels, it still feels physical and everything. Okay, so anyway, so that was an experience I just got a second ago via VR Lucid Dream. Okay, so this other lucid dream, before I talk about the out-of-body experience, I was going to talk about some of these other lucid dreams I had. But, so this other quick lucid dream I had a couple days ago was my grandma was in this scenario, and I was in her. Well, under the scenario, she was in a very, very, like, old house. And you looked at the walls, and, like, the walls were kind of nasty, and the wallpaper was kind of nasty looking. But anyway, so this part was kind of funny, though. I probably would have talked about it if I didn't figure it out, with what the aliens were maybe trying to, like, mock or tell me or whatever. But, there were 3 baby strollers. Oh, this was, under the scenario, my grandmother was getting her house back in order after Christmas. So she took down the Christmas tree and all that. And so she put everything back in order. So that's what it was like under the scenario. So then after she fixed everything and put everything back in order, under the scenario, she had put, and which was normal under the scenario, it was like she's always had 4 little baby strollers. Well, actually, they were kind of big baby strollers in the middle of the living room. And of course, under the scenario, it was just totally, it seemed like it was like just normal, like she had always had baby strollers in her living room. I don't know, the aliens have the ability to do that. When you're under the scenario, you think everything is like, they make you think it's like normal and that she's always had baby strollers in her living room. So anyway, but the funny thing was that I looked at the 4 baby strollers, and there was a fake baby in all 3 of them. There was fake babies, like fake dolls, in 3 of them. And of course, at my mom's house, in the other bedroom, she does have a lot of dolls and stuff in that other bedroom, But anyway, so there were 4 baby strollers, and 3 of them had, fake, they were baby dolls. And 3 of them. And then I looked at one of them, and the baby was missing. There was one of the, for whatever reason, there wasn't a doll in that 4th baby stroller. And after I woke up and everything, and my grandmother, in this scenario, she looked anywhere between, 80 to 92. She died at 92. And so anyway, so after I woke up and everything, I was thinking, maybe the aliens were trying to mock that, because my grandmother had 4 kids, but one of them, died, but he didn't die till he was 40 or 41, something like that. He died back when I was, over 20 years ago. He died when I was like 20 or whatever. And so I don't know. I thought maybe that's what they were trying to mock, so, but I don't know what they were trying to tell me, but I just thought that was kind of funny that one baby doll was missing. And like I say, I think it was because they knew that Uncle David was dead or whatever. But in 2012, my aunt also died, so there actually should have been 2 missing. Because, 2 of her kids are still alive, my mom and my uncle. But anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. Okay, so anyway, that was a lucid dream that they had given me, and they're always putting my grandma in my lucid dreams and stuff, which is really cool, because it's just so real the way they do it. Okay, so I'll talk about this other sexual lucid dream. Okay, back in 2013, 2014, the aliens tried to groom me to date a black guy. And I haven't talked about that experience, but in this lucid dream I had a few days ago, virtual reality lucid dream, like I say, this was kind of like half-ass sex. That's what I'm saying. A lot of times they create scenarios, but they make the sex like totally like half-ass. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But a lot of times they do. Okay, so anyway, in real life, there's this black guy that came into the bookstore, and he's not a regular. I've only seen him like 3 times. And I can't remember if he ever sat down at the cafe or not. I think he maybe did one time. Now, there's this other black guy that goes in there a lot. And because he's like a traveling nurse, but it wasn't him. It's this other black dude. And he looks very, you know, intelligent, very educated. He looks about, I don't know, maybe my age, maybe a little younger. But I've only seen him like 3 times up at the bookstore. And like I said, I can't remember if he's ever sat down at the cafe or not. So he was kind of fresh, you know, in my brain. So now this experience, I wasn't asking for this experience necessarily. I was probably asking for an out-of-body experience or something like that, but this is what I got. So Joel took him, and it's almost like under the scenario he placed us, I almost felt like I was standing there like in Rockport, Texas. And the ocean was kind of over to my right, and it's like to the left of me was like the condo or whatever that I lived at. Okay, so anyway, so basically I was outdoors, and there was a fence. There was a fence in back of him, in back of the black guy. And so anyway, we were standing up, and we basically proceeded to have sex. You know, the black guy with me or whatever. And it was like so real. But anyway, it was kind of like half-assed. Like Joel only made me feel like, it was so funny. Like 2 or 3 inches of his dong. You know, it was so funny. But I mean, it totally felt real and everything. But it was just kind of like, you know, it wasn't like really true intercourse. You know what I'm saying? And that's a characteristic of the aliens, though. Everybody will tell you that, oh yeah, I had this like romance in this dream I had, and we were about to get it on, but then it was a cliffhanger. We never got it on. Yeah, that's a characteristic. That's what they do. That's how they operate for whatever reason. So if you want hardcore sex, you gotta tell them and they'll give it to you, but you just gotta tell them. And then they'll give you full on sex, because I told Joel, I was like, you know, I want some full-on sex. And he gave me, totally intercourse with this one dude, which I'm not going to mention who it was. This was a few weeks ago. And it was like full-on sex. But it was kind of funny. But anyway, so yeah, sometimes you just got to like tell them. But yeah, he pretty much gives me whatever I want. But I'm going to try to ask him. I'm going to try to tell him I want like a water ride, like water, you know, at a theme park. I'll try to tell him, because one time I did ask for a roller coaster ride. Oh yeah, and oh my god, it was better than the real deal. But yeah, I need to try to tell him I want a amusement park water ride. I'll just have to start watching them, like, you know, on YouTube and stuff. You know, I've been watching some of those, like the 10 most dangerous water slides in the world and shit. And he pretty much gives me what I want, but most of the time he'll, you know, give me sex or whatever, even if I don't ask for it. But anyway, so anyway, here's the funny part. So when we were kind of like standing up having intercourse, and like I said, we were standing up, and you know, kind of like if you see in the you see in movies, and there's like a man and a woman, like in a what do you call it? What's it called? Elevator? Yeah, like an elevator, and then you'll see like 2 people trying to have sex or whatever. That's what it was like, except I wasn't like hiking my leg up and getting all, you know, making noises and shit. But anyway, so basically we were like, you know, he was like sticking it in, but he was sticking it in like a couple millimeters, basically. And it felt like his dong was no bigger than 2 inches, you know what I mean? And about big around, I was like, you know, not very round. Not very big, but, you know. So anyway, here's the funny part. So they also like to like embarrass you, you know. So this is the funny part. So as me and the black dude, the black guy from Barnes and Noble, were having sex, it's like my mom came around from where the ocean was around the corner and was like la 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 la, like she was about to come up and talk to me, and then she saw that we were like having hanky panky, and she was like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, and then she turned back around and went the other direction. You know, they like to embarrass you a lot like that. I mean, they do like a lot of stuff that I wouldn't even talk about. That's kind of sexual and stuff. But anyway, so that was another, but anyway, back in it was either 2013 or 2014, I have them all written down. They literally, for whatever reason, they tried to groom me to date like a black guy or a black woman, and it was so funny. And how they do it is, they just consistently, like every day, give you these virtual reality scenarios. And when you wake up, it's like it affects you so bad, like you want to go be with the person, you want to go fuck the person. I mean, it's amazing, but I know how to control all of that because I know what it's all about. But some people, if they don't know what it's all about, they'll be out there fucking everybody in sight. I mean, no doubt some of these people with sexual addictions, it's probably because the aliens are getting into their dream state every morning and giving them these virtual reality, hot, hardcore sex. So then when they come back to 3D reality, that's all they want to do is fuck all day. Because I knew this bisexual woman, and she was a total freaking whore. You know what I'm saying? Well, they're pretty much all whores, but she had a sexual addiction. It was obvious. I mean, and she would fuck anything, and you know, she was not picky at all. I mean, if you're not picky like that, you definitely have a sexual addiction. And but yeah, I mean, she wasn't like, you know, she wasn't particular who she had sex with and all that, but I didn't really realize that till later, that she literally had a sexual addiction, but it was obvious. And like I said, and I'm not saying that 100% sure that the aliens created that, but the aliens could be responsible for a lot of that. You know, the interdimensional, whatever the hell you want to call them, interdimensional beings. I'd rather call them interdimensional beings. But yeah, so okay, so there was that, but I don't think they're not trying to groom me again, but they're always putting black people in my scenarios. But yeah, I still have to talk about that other experience with the black people and the grooming me. Okay, so anyway, okay, so this other, okay, let me think about it before I get to the really good one. Okay, so the other lucid dream I had. Okay, so there was 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is the third one, fourth, fifth. Okay, I'm trying to think. Okay, so yeah, the other one I had basically, and it was Joel. I know it was Joel because he does the same sexual thing over and over again. So it was Joel that gave me this lucid dream, and he stuck me in. Under the scenario, he stuck me in my old house that I used to live at. Except under the scenario, it was totally, I mean, it was huge. The basement was like 3 to 4 times bigger. The upstairs was 3 to 4 times bigger. But it was a very old house. And of course, I was raised in a very, very old house. We were poor. Okay, so anyway, and my mom was walking around, and as far as I remember, I think my sister maybe was too, but I know my mom was. And anyway, so at one point I was walking around the basement downstairs, and I was looking at the old, it was like I knew that I had used to live there and everything, and it's like I was visiting, but I wasn't living there at the moment, you know, or at the you know, under the scenario, I wasn't actually living there, but I was visiting my old house. And I was observing the basement again, and the little area, which it wasn't like that in real life, but in the little area where I used to sleep. And I looked up at the ceiling, and the ceiling was really, really, really low. And you know, in real life, the ceiling was really, really low down in the basement at the house that I really used to live at. But except my brother used to live down in the basement, not me. But under the scenario, it was like I used to sleep and live in the basement. And I laid down on the little twin bed, and it was kind of off in a hallway off of the basement. And I looked up at the ceiling, and the ceiling was really low, and it felt really cold in the room, or in the basement or whatever. And I remember thinking, I can't believe I used to like sleep, in the basement and stuff. But in real life, I did it. And I can't even remember if I ever even spent the night down there. But my brother basically lived in the basement back when we were living at home. Not me, but I would go down there a lot and snoop around. Okay, so anyway, so that was part of the scenario. It started out like that, and then my mom was kind of running around, walking around upstairs, and then at one point she came downstairs, and as far as I remember, we did have some words with each other, but I can't remember what I said or whatever. So then I proceeded to walk outside, and for whatever reason, I got on my old motorcycle, which was a red Honda CBR 250. And so under the scenario, I got on, the exact same motorcycle, and I started to ride it up the little alleyway. There was an alleyway right there, in the back of the house. And of course, in real life, there wasn't. But I started to proceed to clutch and stuff, and it's like I forgot how to clutch. They do that a lot too in my scenarios. They'll make you forget how to do stuff. Yeah, they'll totally make you forget how to do stuff. And so I was like having a hard time clutching. And the neighbor woman, she came out. She had light colored hair. She looked about 60. She came out and was kind of yelling at me, like telling me, "Oh no, do it this way or that way," because I guess she knew I was having a hard time clutching. Well, anyway, in this scenario, so he places me like, I don't know where I was, but it felt like he placed me back in the basement after I went down the alleyway. But he placed me back in the basement, and I don't know, there was just a whole bunch of sex and stuff going on. But I got to edit that part out. Okay, so edit. And I'm trying to remember what I was watching. What was I looking at? It was a movie or something. Oh, yeah. That one, I was trying to watch a Stephen King movie, and it showed this real nasty looking gas station, abandoned gas station, and it just was really yucky, had a bunch of crap laying around and thrown around. So Joel was trying to copy that under the scenario. And so as I was on my motorcycle, like I said, there was a lot of sex in this scenario, like a lot, but I'm editing that part out. But after I got on my motorcycle, I was driving up the little alleyway and back of the house, which the alleyway, it wasn't very wide or anything, just like 20 feet wide. And so as I rode my motorcycle up the alleyway, and then I rode it back down again towards the house, and to my left and to my right, like I say, Joel was trying to copy from my brain from that movie, I have no doubt. To my left and to my right, and just even in the middle, it was just like gross. It was just nothing but oil, like oil pans, like dirty oil pans, from cars, and dirty tires, dirty car parts. It was like a little junkyard in that little alleyway. And as I was riding my motorcycle down the alleyway, I could even I smelled the petroleum from, all of the car parts and stuff. Oh, and the reason why I put that little picture of the oil rig in there was because that was the smell that it smelled like. Like when in real life, when we went through Gonzales, Texas, they have like those oil rigs, and you could smell that oil, man. It's nasty. And those people are getting cancer and shit, because that can't be healthy to smell that, to live near that and smell that in that small town. Now, under the scenario, my point is that that's what the petroleum smelled like. It didn't smell like gasoline. It didn't smell like, car oil. If you opened up a fresh bottle of car oil, it literally smelled like that kind of petroleum that was coming up that they were getting from the ground. Except, like I say, under the scenario, it was a little more light core. It wasn't real hardcore. Like in real life, it was so strong, it was so disgusting. When we'd be driving through Gonzales, Texas, and you smell that, you see the oil rigs going up and down, up and down, up and down. And like I say, those people are fucking getting cancer, because that can't be healthy to smell that. And like I say, under the scenario, that's exactly what the petroleum smelled like. Like that kind of oil, but it wasn't as hardcore in my scenario. But yeah, a lot of times they'll put smells and shit in your scenario and everything. Okay, so, okay, I think I said everything except one more experience, which was the best experience. Okay, let me read everything. Okay, so, okay, so this last experience was, okay, no, this last experience was, it was kind of weird. It was almost like, it was an out-of-body experience, except, and a virtual reality experience, but it was almost like, well, and it was real, because he was real, you know, in the scenario, like interacting with me. But I mean, it was still virtual reality though, because he was making himself look like Glenn Campbell. But anyway, so this experience, this out-of-body experience that I had with Joel a few days ago, it was more in like a more of a lucid dream state, the out-of-body experience. Like, you can have out-of-body experiences that are just literally out-of-body experiences before you hit the dream state. And you can have out-of-body experiences, you know, within the dream state. And this was an out-of-body experience within the dream state. Like, I went out of body and everything, but I was still in I was in the dream state. Like a lucid dream, virtual reality dream state. Okay, so, and it happened after 6 a.m. because I didn't even get up out of bed till like 9 or 9:30. And at 6 a.m. I had got up out of bed and walked around the house because I couldn't fall back to sleep or whatever. And at that time, my light bulb and everything in the kitchen was still fine. But after the experience, when I woke back up after 9, I noticed one of my light bulbs was blown out in the kitchen. And the kitchen light thing, it carries 2 light bulbs. One of them was blown out, but I'm not saying that Joe blew that out, but for some reason, a lot of my light bulbs are being blown out and shit. And I think it's just well, actually, that one that I took out, I think it was one of those purple ones. I bought a crap load of incandescent ones from Walmart, and I realize now I didn't really save any money because a lot of them are freaking duds. I mean, total duds. Like, they'll last like a day, couple hours, maybe a week or 2. So they're freaking duds. I mean, I bought like 20 cases of them. But anyway, I'm not saying that because Joel didn't really, I don't believe he actually broke into this dimension to give me this experience. So he probably didn't blow it out. But it was just kind of funny after I had the out-of-body experience when I woke up, that light bulb was blown out. And it was working just fine, 2 hours previous. But I'm not saying that he did it or anything. Okay, so anyway, so when I went back to bed at 6 a.m. or whatever, I'm sure I was asking for an out-of-body experience. I think I was. This one wasn't sexual at all. And, okay, let me think. So anyway, this is what I got. Okay, now, I gotta tell you, previously, like just either a day or the night before this out-of-body experience, either a day or 2 before this out-of-body experience, I was asking the aliens to give me like, I don't know, like 4 pieces of information that I don't know. 4 pieces of like, what do you call it? What do you call that? Important information, or classified or whatever. Classified information, just about anything, just to see if they would. Just give me like 4 pieces of information or whatever. Like 4 sentences or whatever. And, so this is how he answered my call. He didn't give me anything important, like any government shit or anything like that, which I was trying to ask for. But maybe I already know everything. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I probably already know everything anyway. Okay, so anyway, this is how he answered my call. Okay, so under the out-of-body experience, okay, it went down like this. Okay, now see, I was already in the dream state. This didn't happen a few seconds after I fell asleep. I was already sleeping for quite some time. And I went out of body, because I could feel myself going out of body, but like I say, I was already in the dream state. Or he took me out of body when I was already in the dream state. And the next thing I know, I'm laying there in a strange bed. And right as he pulled me out of body, he just bam, like pins me to the bed, and I'm just like paralyzed. And I was just like, shit, man. It's kind of scary. But, okay, so, as he did that, he, as he did that, as he pinned me to the bed, after he took me out of body and laid me on this strange bed in a strange house. I was in a strange house. I don't know where I was. It was just a strange house. Strange virtual reality house in a strange bed. And as he took me out of body, like I say, he took me out of body, and then I was just like, went out of body, and then he placed me on a bed, and after he placed me on the bed, I proceeded to try to get out of bed, and that's when he just bam pinned me back down to the bed. And that's when this part's funny. That's when he was like pinning me to the bed, I could feel his slimy, wet legs on his, especially the right side. So I guess it would have been his left leg, but to me it seemed like his right leg, but it would have been his left leg. I could feel how wet and slimy it was, but the funny thing is, he was projecting to me like it was like a white man leg, and where he got that idea was from a recent movie that I just saw previous to this experience, where the guy was pinned down on the bed, he was tied to the bed, and he had really white skin. He was a British person, and he was naked, except they covered up his dong, but he was naked, and so he projected that image. As Joel pinned me to the bed, I felt his wet, slimy legs, but he was projecting an image for me to see like a white man leg. He's always doing that. He's always trying to pose as like he's like a human or something, but he's not. And he forgets to like cover up. He forgets to cover up, the knobs on his face and the scale on his stomach, and he forgot to cover that part up, the wet sliminess part, because that part, I guess maybe they can feel wet and slimy in their dimension. So that part was kind of funny. Okay, so then, after he was just like pinning me there to the bed, and I couldn't move, and I kept feeling his wet slimy legs, and I kept seeing this like naked white man leg in my vision. After that went on for a little while, I leaned up out of bed, and at that point I was either just leaning up or I was just standing there. And Joel started walking around having a conversation with me. But he kept posing. I was sitting there staring at him, for 20 minutes at least, him walking around having a conversation with him. But he was posing as Glenn Campbell. And, or a Glenn Campbell, type of lookalike with glasses. He had glasses on. And the reason why Joel used that image was because there's this other guy that comes into Barnes & Nobles, and he works in Branson, and he imitates Glenn Campbell. And if you look at him, I guess he kind of looks like him. Shit, I don't know. I guess he kind of looks like him. He has glasses on, this guy that comes into Barnes & Nobles, and he does, he sings his songs and crap, and kind of poses as him in real life in Branson. So that's why Joel, and he pretty much kind of looked like this guy right here, except, and I think that is Glenn Campbell, except in the scenario, he had glasses on. And, in real life, that guy that comes into Barnes & Nobles, he wears glasses. So Joel was copying off of him. He was posing as him, walking around talking to me and having a conversation. And here's what he was, here's the 4 questions that I had, I asked. But this was questions that also, that he went off my brain, because I've asked like these questions like before, or I've rolled them over in my head and stuff, or talked about them to other people. And so he was answering these 4 questions. He was like, he's like, no, most of us aliens don't die. He said that he did not die. But he said that some aliens do. And he said that some aliens, they don't really die, but they just morph into something else, or they just become something else, metamorphose into something else, like a human or whatever. But he was trying to tell me all this, and that was stuff that I like rolled over in my head, like, before, like that, some people act like the aliens die or whatever, and I don't really think they die, or at least they don't die physically. You know what I'm saying? And so Joel said that he did not die, but he said that some aliens do die, and then he said that some of us aliens, we don't really die, but we'll just become something else, like, I don't know, a human or whatever, or maybe a Nordic or mantis or whatever. And I'm sure there was, a couple other similar things he was telling me, but it was at least, three to six things he was telling me about, do we die? Do we aliens die and stuff? So that was kind of fun and interesting. But, let me see if I'm forgetting anything. Oh, yeah, oh my God. Okay, this part, okay. I can't forget this part, because this part is hilarious. Okay, why did I put Joel as my boss man? Oh, I put that in there. Why did I put that? Oh, I put that in there because every time I ask for experiences, it's pretty much him that's always coming to give me them. It's rarely, any other being. And oh yeah, I put Joel as the boss man on here was because I was actually asking the gray aliens, like, can't you come give me some confidential, classified information? But yet Joel comes along and gives me this information about nothing, about what I already know. You know what I'm saying? That's why I put Joel as my boss man. Okay, but the other cool thing, okay, this was, and of course when I woke up, I'm like, okay, it kind of gave me a complex or whatever. Okay, so, before Joel started, before he started walking around in front of me, posing as Glenn Campbell in the strange house, near the strange bed that I was just, pinned to the bed, before he started going on talking about how if aliens die and stuff, the first thing he told me was, he said that he did not like lemon. And, but I think he's just full of it. I think he's just going off of my own brain, because he knows that I do not like lemon and lime. He knows that I'm basically not crazy about it. And, I've never been crazy about lemonade or lime or anything like that. And, and so I think basically he was going off of that. I don't think, but after I woke up, he gave me a complex, because I'm like, okay, should I really not be, okay, see what the deal is, over the past several weeks, I don't put chemicals in my house or whatever, so over the past several weeks, I've been using my Scentsy pot, and I've been using natural, 100% natural essential oil, lemon. I had used lemon for several days, and orange for several days, and then lately I've been using bergamot. Well, bergamot, kind of has a citrusy kind of smell, which I love bergamot. But, like, even though I don't like lemon and stuff, to eat it or whatever, or candy or lemon cake, gross. I don't mind smelling it. I mean, I don't mind smelling it, like in my house or whatever. I don't mind that. But he knows I don't like lemon as far as eating it, or drinking it, or cake, or anything like that. But that was the first thing he told me. He said that he does not like lemon. So I just thought that was kind of funny. But like I say, I don't really, I mean, I know they kind of can still kind of roam around here invisibly and stuff, but I don't think, burning the lemon oil is bothering him, or my bergamot oil is bothering him. But I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But after I woke up, I mean, like, he gave me a complex, like, okay, should I really stop burning lemon, essential oil in my Scentsy pot? So anyway, so I don't know, but I'm still gonna burn it. I actually think I'm all out of lemon, though. That's why I started going to the orange, and then I started going to the bergamot. Because the little essential oils I bought, I mean, they barely give you any. It's just this teeny tiny little bottle. So, it goes pretty fast. But that was interesting that he told me that he did not like lemon. But like I said, I don't think he means it. I think he's just going off my brain. And that's why I put Joel as my boss man, because like I say, I was basically trying to ask the Grays if they can come give me information, like some classified information or whatever. And Joel comes forward and gives me this non-important stuff, you know what I'm saying? But the cool part was his slimy, wet legs. Because that was the first time, okay, this is the first time I've ever felt his legs. I felt his head before, which had a bunch of knobs on them. And I felt his scales before on his stomach. But I've never felt his legs before until now. And they were wet and slimy, like a toad. Now, I did not feel any scales. That doesn't mean there weren't scales on his legs. I didn't feel any scales or bumps or anything on his legs, but I maybe just don't exactly remember that part or whatever. But they were definitely wet and they were slimy. But like I say, he was projecting as he was like pinning me to the bed. See, he's kind of intimidating. He kind of likes to intimidate me sometimes, but he doesn't all the time. So when he just like bam, when I was trying to after he pulled me out of body and laid me down on the bed, I knew I was out of body. So naturally I'm going to try to get up out of bed. And in a split second, he just bam, pins me to the bed. And that's when which was kind of intimidating. And that's when I felt his wet, slimy legs. And like I say, and then boom, he started projecting a naked, white man image of a leg from that movie, The Devil's Tower. I didn't even watch the whole thing. It was stupid. I was just trying to watch some Stephen King stuff that I've never seen before. And I think there's a lot of movies that I haven't seen before, but that one was just kind of stupid. You can't understand them very well because they're English. But there's a scene where this white man is tied up to the bed, and he's basically all naked, and he's got very, very, very white legs. And that's what Joel was projecting at me when he was pinning me to the bed, that white man leg. But yeah, it was called The Devil's Tower, and I only watched the first 10 or 15 minutes because it was stupid. I was just trying to watch something to get me groggy before I went to bed or whatever. But anyway, I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I still think there was a couple other things when that woman ran out and was talking to me and telling me how to ride my motorcycle. I mean, it wasn't real important or anything, but I thought there was something else that she was telling me. But I mean, I know it wasn't important, even if it was, but I forgot that part. But I know one of the things, I know she was yelling at me, no, do it this way, clutch that way, or clutch this way. Because it had been a while, in real life since I rode a motorcycle. And so in the scenario, Joel made it seem like, okay, you forgot how to clutch and stuff. But I could have swore there were some other things that she said to me. I mean, it wasn't important, but there were some other things she said to me, and I can't remember what she said. But anyway, that was the neighbor. And the scenario I talked about with the petroleum smelling alleyway. But anyway, I think I've already said everything. Yeah, okay, that's it. He did not like lemon. Okay, yeah, so that's it. Thanks for listening.